Hello, everyone. We're just kind of getting started as a few people filter in, but thank you for joining us this evening. I don't know where all of you are from, right here in Victoria, where I am. It is absolutely gorgeous outside. So thank you for tuning in when you could be kayaking or something like that outside, if you live close to the water, I guess. Yeah. And
This
Troy-
is basically everybody. You can turn your mics on right now briefly if you want to say hi and talk to us.
Hi.
Hey, Lou,
Hello,
Selena.
Hello.
Carol, are you on?
Yes, are you?
Yeah, I am. So I'm going to say goodbye to you.
Okay. This is why we're just leaving mics on for a second. After that, we're going to request you to turn them off. As Jenna was saying, we thank you for joining us. And, maybe we want the mics off now.
Hold on.
Let's do that. You got the control, Jenna. You want to mute them?
Yeah.
Somebody has two things on, but they're not off.
Are
There
you
we go.
want to say on mute? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Everybody mute yourself.
Alrighty.
We had our moment and you
Okay.
got ruined.
Okay, so I even muted you, Troy, so I do apologize because there was just the button to mute everyone.
Yep.
But
Nope, that's perfect.
yeah, thank you, Troy, for inviting me to speak. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenna English, and I represent G Adventures here in British Columbia. I've been with G Adventures for a few years. Actually, I'll talk a little bit about that in my presentation. But it seems like all of you are interested in going to India with Troy. Is that correct? Maybe give me a thumbs up since you can't shout. Yes. Yeah. Amazing. India is by far #1 on my bucket list. So, I mean, I wish I could come with you, but I would love to do a tour like this. I had my dream India tour planned for November 2020, and we all know how that worked out. So just gotta, plan again for maybe next year. And Troy here is going to look after some questions in the chat while I am presenting. By all means, you can keep your camera on, but because I will be sharing a bit of a PowerPoint presentation, there's absolutely no need. You're probably not even going to see yourself. So if you want to be off camera and just mute it and watch, that's perfect. I'm also going to record this session, so I will let you all know that this is currently being recorded. So if you have any questions, you can certainly ask them at the end of the presentation. And then I will send the recording out to Troy. It is my aim to get that to him by tomorrow at the latest. That way he can also send it to all of you if you want to review anything, or maybe if there's anyone else that you think would be interested in this tour who isn't logged in tonight, you're able to share it with them. So yeah, I know Troy's really excited to get a full group to India for February 2024. So without further ado, I'm going to get started. And like I said, I won't really be able to see the chat if you raise your hand or anything like that, but there will be moments for questions at the very end. I don't have a hard stop at 8:30, so it can go a little bit longer, but I'm usually pretty good at keeping these within the hour. So, and if you have to leave early, again, that's fine. I'll get Troy the recording when we are done. Okay. So you should be able to see a purple screen, G Adventures virtual travel talk. Maybe Troy, since I can't see anyone, if you could just.
You can.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, thank you. All right, so as I said, my name is Jenna English and I am your host tonight. This is a picture of me at one of our conferences. I'm pretty sure I saw Troy here at the Outdoor Adventure Show in March in Vancouver, but I represent G Adventures for British Columbia and the Northern Territories. Here are a few pictures of me. I actually was a traveler with G Adventures first. So I went on a tour with us in 2018 and absolutely loved it. So much so that only 2 months later, I booked my second G Adventure tour. And I thought maybe the first one was a fluke. They can't all be that good. But lo and behold, the second one was actually even better. And I was just like, okay, what do I have to do to be a part of this company and have this as my job? I actually quit my government job. My parents were like, what are you doing? Why are you quitting the government to go work in travel? But I just felt like I really resonated with the brand. And so I left in 2018 and I have been here since. So yeah, it's a wonderful place. I don't know if any of you have been on a G Adventure tour before. If you have, maybe just leave something in the chat so I can read that afterwards. But if not, I do have a lot of pride sharing all the good things that our company has to offer around the world. Okay, so an inside look at who we are at G Adventures. Well, first of all, I am proud to say we are a Canadian company. So we started in 1990 in Toronto. Our founder is Bruce Poontip. We are a very global company, even though we have Canadian roots. So we operate more than 600 tours in over 100 countries. We have 11 different travel styles. That means there's an adventure for everyone, whether it's sailing in Greece, hiking Mount Kilimanjaro, or doing a wellness retreat in Costa Rica. Everything is varied, but we can find something that suits every traveler. We have over 950 employees worldwide, spread over 6 continents. So we really are available anytime you need us. We're the #1 adventure tour operator on Earth. We have 19 local offices around the globe. And pre-pandemic, we were hosting about 200,000 travelers from 127 countries. Now, I'm proud to say that as of, I believe it was March 2023, we're actually already exceeding our pre-pandemic numbers. So we are back and we are very excited that everyone is traveling again. Just a quick map of where we are currently traveling. We also go to Antarctica. It's just covered by the font that I put on the picture, but you can see there's a lot of area that we cover. And why should you travel with G Adventures? So what sets us apart from other travel companies? I am going to share a quick video before I go into some more specifics.
We who travel, who really travel, are a different breed because we don't want what's scripted. We want what's real. To us, travel isn't a checklist of photo ops and trendy hotspots. We're not after escape or keepsakes. Experience, connection, meaning. Those are our favorite souvenirs. We don't just want to go somewhere. We want to grow somewhere. As people, as a community, together. Through the sights we see, the laughs we share, and the things we never thought we'd try. We don't just welcome it all. We love every single freaking second of it. So together, we say, bring on the wild. Travel with G Adventures and experience the greatest adventures on Earth.
Okay, so just a little preview that recently came out of our marketing team. So it's brand new footage from some of our travelers. But I'm going to break down into a few bite-sized pieces why we are different than some of the other travel companies out there. So #1, we do focus in small groups. So most of our groups have a maximum size of 16 people, very different from many of the larger coach style tours or of course cruises, right? So it's more intimate, more of like family style way of touring. And of course, with the tour that Troy has picked, the Essential India, it will be a private group. So you will be traveling amongst yourselves. But on our other departures, you could get a mix of travelers from all over the world. Book and travel with confidence. These are some policies that actually were born out of COVID. It means that we have great cancellation rules in place when you book with us. So we like to give you some peace of mind. One of those would be our lifetime deposits. So we we ask for a $350 deposit to secure your tour. And even if you have to cancel, that deposit isn't forfeited. That actually stays on file in your name so that you can use that deposit for any other trip in the future. And I mean, anytime in the future. It is a lifetime deposit. It's for you, but you can also gift it to someone else if you tell us that you'd like to. We have locally based guides. So all of our guides in the world are from the area that they are leading the tour. We don't call them tour leaders. We actually call them CEOs or Chief Experience Officers. They are the most important people in our company, so they get the highest title. We're built to support local communities. This means that we are always using local accommodations, transportation, and restaurants whenever possible, because we really want to give back to the places we visit. We have the 3 Fs: flexibility, freedom, and fun. So no matter what the travel style is, you can ensure that we have handpicked some things that you don't want to miss, but we also like to give travelers free time so that you can kind of pick how you want to spend your time and destination. Not everyone's going to want to do the same thing. So maybe Troy and I have very different views of what we think would be fun during the day. So rather than forcing us all to do the same thing all the time, we actually plan to have little pockets of time so that if someone wants to be a little bit more adventurous, or if someone wants to relax, they have the freedom to do that and kind of make the tour their own. And then lastly, our G for good. This is collectively all the good that G Adventures does. So I will go over this a little bit later, but we'll focus on our Planetera projects and our Ripple score. So travel like you live there. So you stay local, and so does your money. So this is our Ripple score, and it came out of 2016. We kind of designed this phrase to just really stay transparent and accountable. And we're kind of hoping that more tour operators will take this on. But this tells our travelers how much money that they spend in destination will actually stay in destination. So when a tour has a high Ripple score, that means that we are using local suppliers wherever possible, right? Sometimes a Ripple score will be slightly lower because in places like Europe, for example, the public transportation is phenomenal, and it just wouldn't make sense for us to use a local supplier when we can use something that's public and like more municipal. So our Ripple scores are higher in areas that we've kind of built up and helped support. So, you'll find high Ripple scores in places like India, Peru, Thailand, and Morocco, just to name a few. On average, across the board, our Ripple score is 93. So that means 93 cents of every dollar you're spending in destination actually goes to benefit that community. So it's something that we're very proud of. Okay, so for this tour, the Essential India, February 4th to 18th. So it's 15 days, and it starts and ends in Delhi. I'm going to direct your attention up here to the map, if you can see this, and you'll see that this dotted line here with the plane indicates that there is an included flight on this tour. So it doesn't include the international airfare from Canada. And the reason we don't include air is because we know every person travels differently. Maybe some people want to fly business, some people want to fly economy. Some people will have more than 15 days, and maybe they want to start off in Europe, or maybe they want to extend their time in India. Everybody has a different has different vacations. So we don't make flights specific to the tour. Even some people will tack on 2 tours back to back. So what we do is we can offer air quotes. So if you needed any air, you could contact Troy and he could contact us, or Troy of course could book it through his own booking channels. We try to make it very easy and flexible because, like I said, everybody flies a little bit differently. Some people want to use points, for instance, and we're not able to redeem people's points. So I'm just going to quickly kind of go into this tour. So Essential India. Oh, just like looking at the map, it covers so much of northern India. I'm really excited for you all. From the intricate saris of Rajasthan to the beautiful symmetry of the Taj Mahal, this compact journey is a photographer's delight and perfect introduction to India. So you'll float past the ghats on the Ganges River and encounter the spiritual heart of Hinduism in Varanasi and get off the beaten path, exploring carved stepwells and quaint temples in rural villages. With the perfect combination of included activities and free time to explore the nation's rich heritage, you're sure to be caught up in India's incredible tapestry of life. Now, again, just going to talk about some important things such as the travel style. So this is a classic. So I mentioned in the very beginning, G Adventures has 11 travel styles and they're all a little bit different. Classic by far is our #1 top selling travel style. And the reason for that is because we do have included activities, but most importantly, we give you that free time. So that's it's really, really popular and you get a great price because of that. There's time for those included activities. So there's some things you will have to pay for in destination. The service level is standard. So this means that you will have, clean hotels in destination, but they're not going to be the expectations that you're used to in Canada, right? They are just going to be tourist class with some character. There might be some character like maybe not having an elevator, for instance, right? But we look mainly for centrally located hotels that benefit the locals. And also, they have a 24-hour concierge so that if you come back late or if your flight arrives early in the morning, you're able to still check in. We want them to be safe, of course. Safety is our #1 concern for our travelers. So they'll have those things, even things like safes in the room, but they just won't have things. They might not have pools. They might not have fitness centers, spas, the types of things that you might be a little bit more used to here in Canada. The physical rating is a 2 out of 5, so it's nothing too strenuous, just maybe some light walking. Most fitness levels can totally do this. I mentioned that it is a small group. Of course, this one will be a private group. And then the age requirement is anyone over 12. For Canadian nationals, I do want to point out that you will need a visa to get into India. So that is something that you'll want to do ahead of time. It looks like you're allowed to stay up to 60 days, but that's more than enough because this tour is only 15 days. I also want to mention that it is your responsibility as the traveler to make sure you have all the documentation you need. That includes making sure your passport is valid for up to 6 months from the date you leave the country. And then you also need to have mandatory travel insurance for any G Adventure tour. The minimum requirement is $200,000 US worth of coverage to cover medical, evacuation, and repatriation. Now, a lot of people ask, Jenna, does it have to be $200,000 for each of those things? And I say no. Think of the $200,000 like an umbrella. So as long as you have $200,000 worth of coverage for those 3 combined, then we consider that sufficient to go on the tour. You are required to give us your insurance information before you travel, just so that we know you're all set up and taken care of before you're in destination. Okay, Planetera. So I mentioned a little bit before about G for Good. So Planetera is our non-for-profit partner. Planetera actually turned 20 in 2023. And in those 20 years, we have developed over 100 Planetera projects globally. And you might ask, well, what does Planetera do? So we look for opportunities to help develop the communities we visit. And we usually focus on more minority groups like Indigenous groups, youth, or women's groups, anywhere that, there's a little bit more obstacles to their employment. And then we look at how we can help them and how by traveling to that area, can we give them support. We like to think of it as a hand up and not a hand out. So there's actually 2 G for Good projects on this tour, the Delhi City Walk and the Women with Wheels arrival transfer. So I'm quickly going to show you a video of the Women with Wheels, just so you get a better idea of all of the good that Planetera does in India.
When I would wake up in the morning, I would see the faces of my beautiful daughters. I had no identity and also had little income. I knew I wanted a change for me and for them. There were many fears. What would people think of me? Was it safe? But I knew this was a great opportunity.
When they came into Azad Foundation, the way they talked, they hardly talked, some of them, the way they looked, the way they thought about themselves has changed completely. To women who are now so confident, so sure of how they've been able to help their families. Women on Wheels is a social enterprise that provides livelihoods as professional chauffeurs to resource-poor women, and on the other hand, also provides safe and alternate transport options to women users of the services.
I learned to drive. I learned self-confidence and English. I learned about women's rights.
G Adventures believes in responsible tourism. They have a lot of women clients who come into India to travel. They were looking for safe transport options for the women who come into India. They have supported us in terms of bandwidth, in terms of fleet size, and the work that we are doing so that we can become a stronger organization.
Now I work full-time for Women on Wheels. I enjoy talking with the travelers. They feel safe with me. I now have courage and confidence in myself. So women everywhere pursue happiness and freedom. Now when I see the faces of my daughters, I know everything is going to be fine.
If you were watching that, then you saw, there's a demand for G Adventures travelers to have those arrival transfers, and, navigating those Delhi streets would be very, difficult or overwhelming. So by, employing these women, we're giving them purpose, they're more, fiscally independent because they can earn their own money. So it's just like a really feel good initiative, and I can't wait to go to India to be able to see this project. And yeah, usually travelers will say that they feel kind of comforted and supported the second they land, because there's already someone from the organization who is helping them get to the starting hotel. All right, and on the first day, so it's really easy going when you are on the tour. You're going to be picked up at the airport. We ask you for your flight information ahead of time, and then you're driven to the starting hotel. And then approximately 6 p.m., there will be a welcome meeting with your CEO. Remember, that's what we call our tour guides. So they're going to go over the entire itinerary with you from start to finish. And it's a great point to ask any questions to the CEO, or if there's some optional activities that you're really interested in booking, making sure that they know well in advance so that they have lots of time to prepare for all that. Usually the welcome meeting lasts about an hour, and then the group will go ahead and go out for a nice welcome dinner at a local restaurant. If you happen to miss the welcome meeting, that's okay. It's not required, it's just recommended. However, if you are traveling all the way from British Columbia, I would recommend maybe getting there one day in advance, or at least getting an earlier morning flight. Simply because with the time difference, you don't want to start your tour really tired or jet lagged. And we all know that flights can get delayed. So if you get all the way there, but then you miss a day, then you're already missing, part of the tour. So that's not the best way to start your vacation. So if you do want to book any pre-nights, just let Troy know, and then he can always let our groups department know. Okay. All right, and then on day 2, this is where you're going to do the next G for Good moment. It's actually a city walk, and it's in Delhi, led by youth that are part of the City Walk project. So it helps former at-risk youth, and just similarly to Women with Wheels, it helps them with their English, and it gives you a bit of a unique perspective on the city. I myself, when I was in Belize, we also had a G for Good tour with school kids. And it was actually a really neat way to see the city from their perspective. They would take us around on bikes and they would show us where they go to school, where they go to church, where they play soccer. So getting it from the eyes of a kid is actually going to be a really interesting experience for all of you. So it's a great project, and all of the money that is raised through this project also helps support, all of the kids with medical expenses or education. So it's really, really good. And then a little bit later, there is the Yama Masjid visit. And I'm going to say right now, my Indian is not very good. So there might be a few words that I mispronounce. But you are going to get to go and visit that great mosque of Delhi. It was actually commissioned by the same emperor who constructed like the Taj Mahal. So it's a very large mosque, and you'll get to see the courtyard, and just usually I think they try to do it for around sunset so that you get some really great pictures. But you'll get to visit markets, and you can see on the screen you're going to be walking for approximately 5 kilometers. So just making sure that you pack comfortable shoes and things like that. During the city walk, they will also do things like stop for food. So you'll get to try some really delicious food. I would also recommend that if you are going to India, you pack medicine that will stop you from getting what they call Delhi belly, right? So bringing things like Imodium or Pepto-Bismol, just because you're eating food that's really different than what you're used to, right? So your stomach just it's not always going to be happy. And I just came back from Thailand and Vietnam, and I had the same things. I think it's just part of travel, right? You just kind of have to deal with it as you go. But just making sure that you're packed and you're prepared will make sure that you have the best time possible. Okay, now on day 3. So this is the day that you are leaving Delhi. So if there's a few more things you want to explore in Delhi, like I said, reach out to Troy and maybe book a day or 2 in advance, just so you get as much out of it as you want. And on this day, you are going to drive approximately 5 to 6 hours to the next city of Jaipur. Jaipur is known as the Pink City, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. While you are there, we give you lots of free time. Actually, the rest of this day is free time. So you can choose to go and visit some observatories. You can go and watch a Bollywood movie. Maybe you want to relax and maybe go off with another person in the group. In places like India, because it is so congested as well, I really discourage anyone from going off on their own. Actually, the biggest reason that our largest demographic are solo female travelers is because we're simply the ones who don't really feel comfortable going to these places by ourselves. So as always, like, make sure you are traveling like with a buddy. And at that welcome meeting on the first day, the group leader, the CEO, will also make probably some type of group chat, just so you can all stay accountable to where you are. And if you want to just do what the group leader does, the CEO, then that's fine too. They are the experts in the region, so they can give you some really great suggestions. Okay, on day 4, we're staying in Jaipur, I should say. And let me just move this. You're going to head to the Hawa Mahal. It's the Palace of the Winds before going to the Amber Fort visit. So yeah, Amber Fort, if you Google the pictures of it, I should have actually put one in this presentation. I'm sorry that I didn't. Again, just like a gorgeous piece of architecture, really good for photos and things like that. So you'll do that in the morning. But then in the afternoon, you have a lot of options. So one of them that they suggest is the Jaipur cycle tour. So this is where you get to go biking in the city. You'll be with local guides at the same time, so they'll kind of route you around. And there's a lot of like cool things that you'll experience on that. And then the other one that I would personally suggest is the Kitchen with a Cause. Kitchen with a Cause is a G Values Fund project. And the G Values Fund is a little bit different than Planetera. It's a fund that we set up for our CEOs that are tired of leading tours. Maybe they've been guiding for 15, 20 years, and as wonderful as they are, they just don't have it in them anymore to be on the road, but they still want to be involved in our company in some way. So because they know exactly what we might be missing on our tours, a lot of them will set up things like restaurants or hotels in the places that we visit, and they'll become our local supplier. So with this kitchen with a cause, that's exactly what some of the CEOs in India did. They retired from guiding, and then they've opened up a cooking school to teach our travelers how to make some Indian food. So highly recommend that as one of the optional activities as well. Okay, and then on day 6, you are leaving Jaipur and heading to the Dula village. And you're still in the province of Rajasthan, but you're actually going to head a little bit more rural, right? So tonight you will be kind of like tenting, it'll be twin share camp. So it's not going to be anything too basic, but relaxing by a fire and kind of just like enjoying the stars. And then, here it is, the comfortable tents with beds, lamps, and ensuite bathrooms. So like I said, not camping like you're camping in British Columbia. So this is a little bit of a step up. And then if you are really interested, and again, I recommend, because I've done it in Turkey, the Jaipur balloon ride. So you'll wake up probably around 4 in the morning, and then you'll do this, right at dawn, head up, and then you'll be able to take lovely photos. So if you do want to add that on, I believe that can be booked in advance. I will double check before this meeting is done, but if not, like anything that you don't pre-book, it can still be booked in destination. Just some places would take cash only, and other places might accept credit card. So just be really flexible with how you're paying for everything. Okay. Oh, sorry, I said day 5, I meant day 6. And then this is where you are in the Dula village, and you are heading to the Taj Mahal. So you're heading to Agra. Now this ride in a private vehicle is not going to be quite as long, right? It's 4 hours. It is at least a private vehicle, so it's not a public bus or things like that. A lot of our private vehicles, have nice comfortable seats, similar to maybe what you would take to an airport, like an airport shuttle bus, and they all have air conditioning and things like that. And then once you are getting there, you will get to go to the Abhanari stepwells visit. So again, sorry if I butchered that pronunciation, but you will get to go there and learn about their invention for harvesting rainwater. There's also some visits to the Fatehpur Sikri. Again, sorry about the pronunciation, but it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you'll get to see, you'll just get to explore the fort. And then there was 3 different religions that were kind of centered there, right? Hindu, Muslim, and Christian. So you'll get to see those different palaces as well. I should have mentioned at the beginning, but in the presentation, you'll also see we do include breakfast for a lot of our classic tours. The breakfast is normally done by the hotel you're staying at. Things like lunch and dinner aren't always included, simply because not everyone has the same appetite. Maybe some people just need a snack for lunch and then they have a larger dinner, and vice versa. So again, your tour guide will let you know well in advance what you need to pack, especially if you are going to be doing a bit of a drive. Things like, bringing lots of bottled water so you stay hydrated. And I would also recommend things like those electrolyte tablets, because those will help you fight dehydration as well. Okay, day 7. All right, now you're in Agra. I don't know about everyone else, but this would, of course, for me, be one of the big highlights, because you are going to wake up at sunrise to see the Taj Mahal. A lot of groups will see it at sunset, and of course, it is beautiful, but there are a lot of people there. Our CEOs, they wake up extremely early to get you there so that no one is in your pictures. And you might grumble to yourself the night before, like, oh, why do I have to wake up so early? but it's going to be quiet and peaceful. And to get all of those photos without all the other travelers in the background is going to be worth it. Okay, so you'll get a few hours kind of touring the Taj Mahal, and then there is going to be a rickshaw that you'll get to ride on, and you'll get to also see the baby Taj Mahal. So it's just, just this nice smaller version of it all there. So that really is the main thing that they have booked for day 7. Then you will have free time. So if there's anything else you want to do in Agra, your CEO will certainly organize that for you. Okay. And then on day 8, this is where you're going to board a train. So this train is going to take you from Agra to Alipurna, and you are going to ride across some rough Indian roads. So it's not going to be like not like a Rocky Mountaineer would be way too far up there, but I'm trying to think of like even a via would be higher than this. So just want to manage everyone's expectations. It's going to be a rocky, ride, but it's all part of the local experience, right? You're going there to see what it would be like to actually live in this country. So you're going to stay in the village of Alipurna for 2 days and interact with the local people, and you have free time. So you'll just meet the locals, check out all the village life. The CEO will let you know if there's any special celebrations happening and things like that. Anytime I've gone to local villages, I've enjoyed just even sitting back and speaking to the other villagers. Your CEO will always help translate in case their English isn't very strong, but it's just really nice to know, these people's stories and what it's like to live there. Okay, so on day 9, so you're still there, and you are going to join, let's see, it's India's largest group of medieval temples, the Kama Sutra statues, and you'll get to learn some history of that. And then it says a little bit of erotica from the Middle Ages, but you'll visit a nearby waterfall and also visit watch an evening dance performance. So again, we're really focusing on a lot of, Indian culture. This picture, of course, I thought it was so appropriate, our team here in India. This is the type of thing you can expect in this area, right? Lots of music, lots of dancing. Sometimes they'll even dress you up in local saris and things like that. So just go in with a really open mind. Okay, and then on day 10, so this is when you're going to go from Alipurna to Orcha. So you'll visit a unique paper making plant, and you'll assist tribal women in that area. The paper is made from recycled clothing and wood pulp. So again, really interesting to know what other countries do to recycle more materials and be sustainable. You'll continue on and embark on an orientation tour of the town, and again, talk to people. There might be a puja ceremony where you'll be presented with flowers and incense and food to likely give to like a god or a deity. Okay, and then on day 11, this is where you're going to head to Varanasi. So there is an overnight train, and you will see, like on this day, it is 13 hours. But of course, that's why we try to book overnight trains whenever we can, because then you're not missing the day. At least you get the entire day there, and then you kind of wake up refreshed in a new location. I just came from Vietnam, where we had an overnight train, and it's bunk bed style. So this is most likely going to be very similar, where it's bunk beds with doors and a table for drinks and things like that. Your CEO will, of course, let you know what you need. I would recommend bringing things that will make you feel comfortable. So for myself, I brought my own sleep liner and a travel pillow, kind of because I didn't know what to expect in Vietnam, to be completely honest. I didn't know if linens were provided, so I didn't want to sleep on just like a rubber mat. And my expectations were like I was surprised with how great it was, but always better to kind of go in with lower expectations and then be pleasantly surprised. So if I were you, I would bring like a sleep sheet or a sleep liner, something that you can wrap yourself up in the case that there's linens provided. Sometimes travelers just feel a little bit better having their own material. And then as far as, a travel pillow goes, I didn't know what kind of pillow they would provide or if they would give me one. So I wanted to make sure I had something. But yeah, so just keep in mind, basic overnight trains, it's what the locals take. You can expect that it will likely be warm because it is India. So again, just making sure that you're packing very light clothes, something, lots of linens, or maybe like a light cotton that will wick any sweat away. And even things like, trying to think what the material is, but like those dry wicking or even like a merino wool. I know wool sounds really warm, but it's actually really good at taking the sweat away from your body. So just things like that will keep you cool. And again, make sure you bring layers and things like that. Okay. And then the next day, of course, you're going to wake up in Varanasi. So, so you disembark the train and then you take an orientation walk through the city. And this is where you get to see the river Ganges, and you get to have an evening boat ride. So it says it's, around 1 to 2 hours. And the Ganges is just a really like important place. You'll see a lot of people, they find there's a lot of spirits there, or like it's a very spiritual or religious place. That's what I'm trying to say. So just be kind of respectful when you're there, and just kind of watch and notice what other people are doing. And you'll probably get the chance to maybe light a candle or maybe drop flowers in the river as well. So yeah, and of course doing it kind of at sunset, you can just imagine that you would have some beautiful pictures on the Ganges as well. Let's see what else we have. Day 13, so you're still in Varanasi. You can do another boat tour. So if you loved it so much the night before, you can book it again for this morning. And then there's also optional activities on day 13. Let's see. Actually, I'm just going to go on our website and double check what that is because I am blanking on day 13. It's the guided visit of Sarnath. Sarnath, I think I'm saying that right. But that is, it's another monastery, very similar to some of the other ones you would have seen. Again, this tour really likes to throw in a good mix of, culture, history, art, things like that. So you can choose to, do as much of these, monastery or fort visits as you want. But, we're all different. And on day 13, you might be a little bit tired of that. So you can ask your CEO, what else would you recommend? Maybe there's local markets you could explore. If you're buying souvenirs for any people back home, buying them from a local market would be a great place because you're getting something, authentically locally made versus maybe something you'd get in like a souvenir shop, for instance. Okay. And then on day 14, this is where you are going to take that included flight back to Delhi. So again, to save on all of the travel time getting back there, we're not going to make you take 2 overnight trains. So we're going to give you an included flight. That way you can get back into Delhi, in the kind of late afternoon, and you have the rest of the night there before day 15, which is departure day. So as with all of our tours, on departure day, there's normally no activities. If it's a day where you are spending most of the day traveling and then the tour ends on arrival, it would specify that. But on this particular tour, no plans. You can leave anytime on day 15. And just like with the pre-nights, if you wanted to stay a few days extra in Delhi at the end, you could absolutely do that as well. You would just have to let Troy know. Okay, so that's kind of a brief overview of the tour. And now I'm just going to go over some frequently asked questions before I check the chat and see what else was asked. But first, how much money should I bring to cover meals that aren't included? So our website recommends approximately $345 to $450 US for the meals not included. Of course, that number is a little bit higher if you plan on purchasing anything like alcohol or tobacco. So just keep in mind that it's always better to have a little bit more cash than you planned. You can certainly bring credit cards as well, but just keep in mind that in India, they use a lot of rupees, and they might not always accept credit cards. Or what happened to me is that sometimes I was having issues with my bank. Luckily, I have two different banks, so I brought one of each because one just worked better than the other. So just be prepared for any hiccups like that. Is drinking water provided? So in India, it is safe to drink. It's safest to drink bottled water, right? You don't want to drink the tap water there. Some hotels will have filtered water stations where you can just bring your bottle and fill it up. But you can't just rely on that. So your CEO will say at the beginning during that welcome meeting, how often you'll have to purchase bottled water. It's going to be inexpensive, and rather than carrying a ton of big bottles with you the whole way, it might just be easier to keep rebuying, like plastic bottles, unfortunately. Okay, can I pre-book some of the extras? So yes, the Jaipur cycle tour, heritage and spiritual walk in the old Benares, the guided visit of the Sarnath, and the Orca cooking school can be prepaid. Okay, so I answered my own question. The Jaipur balloon ride looks like cannot be prepaid, or else I would have put it in there. So that is something that you can certainly book on tour. If you want any of the following added before the tour starts, just let Troy know so that he can add it on for you. And will I be able to do laundry? Because of course, when you're going anyplace hot, you kind of go through clothes a little bit faster. Because of the pace of this tour, it's likely that you won't be able to stop and actually get laundry sent out unless a hotel offers, same day laundry service. So I always plan for, just kind of washing my own clothes in the sink at the hotel. I bring things that are really easy to dry. So yeah, anything just really light, or if I can just kind of like air it out and get through it another day. Those are my best recommendations for kind of avoiding doing laundry. And of course, I mean, it's very inexpensive in India. Bring another suitcase if you want and buy some clothes. I know that's what a lot of us did in Vietnam. Okay, what should you pack? So you want to pack light or as light as possible, because you are responsible for your own bags. So with our types of tours, there's no one handling your bags for you and bringing them up to the room. So you want to make sure that you can carry your own bag whenever necessary. I always say backpacks or maybe soft-sided carry-on suitcases are perfect for that. And some tours you have a big restriction of just one or the other, just one piece. For a tour like this, because there's so many private vehicles and things like that, you should be fine if you wanted to bring like a backpack as a personal item, like great for day packs and things like that. And then also a carry-on suitcase, or at least the medium-sized suitcase. You want to make sure you have important documents. You want to make sure you have your passport. As I mentioned, you want to make sure it's valid for at least 6 months after February 18th. You want to make sure you have a copy of your insurance, your flight information, and you have your credit cards, and then US cash, which you'll be able to convert into Indian rupees on arrival. You want to make sure you bring a phone and any modest clothing that covers your knees and your shoulders. I also recommend bringing things like shawls or scarves that can be used to cover, your head and your neck and shoulders if you're going into any type of fort or temple that requires it. Oh, yeah, I said that's the next one on my list. Hats, of course, just for sun protection, sunscreen and things like that. Camera, good walking shoes, and then, day pack, dry bag for any small excursions. If you want more information, it is right here on our G Adventures site. We do have a very extensive packing list, just if you needed something to print out and check off. Okay, is insurance mandatory? As I said in the beginning, it absolutely is. You need to have $200,000 US worth of coverage before starting the tour. It has to cover you from the time you leave BC until the time you get back. So just make sure that you have at least $200,000 US coverage for medical emergencies, evacuation, and repatriation. In case no one knows what the word repatriation means, kind of morbid, but it means that if something happens to you and we have to bring your body back to Canada, then it covers it. So, coming out of this pandemic, we all know how important travel insurance is. It might also be worth it to get trip cancellation coverage as well. You never know if something happens in your personal life. So if you need insurance, can't get it through G Adventures, so I would contact Troy if you need a quote. Here are some reviews from G travelers who have been to India. I'm just going to read them out really quick. The trip was organized perfectly. Our tour guide, Perry, made it more special to us. I felt like a family member showed us his home. His optional recommendations were perfect. His emotional talks about his country let us feel a part of it. Everything was so well organized and fantastic value for money. I felt very well looked after, and I can't believe how much we saw and did. I've traveled with G Adventure several times in the last few years, and each trip has been amazing, especially this trip, which has been exceptional. Thanks to the great group and fantastic CEO, Jai Shukla, who ensured we had the best experience of India. I will say that I pulled all 3 of these reviews from the Essential India tour on our website. If you wanted to see more reviews, you absolutely can. We're very transparent as a company with what we put on there. And also, when you come back from the tour with G Adventures, we are going to send you an email asking for your feedback. It's the only way that we can get better. So tell us what you loved and what we can do better. That way, we get honest feedback from our travelers. And as a reward for doing that, we're going to give you a 5% discount on your next full price tour. Okay, now it's question time. So I'm going to stop sharing my presentation for a second, and I'll be able to see the chat now, and I can see some more faces. If you want to come off mute, by all means, now is a fine time to do that. And I'm just going to see what has been said in the chat.
Well, the only one I couldn't answer was by PJ.
Okay.
He asked, he has $1 million insurance on his credit card.
Okay.
Will that work for G?
So I would say just reach out to your credit card company and make sure that that $1 million policy covers those 3 things. If it does, then that's fine. We'll just need the policy number and a phone number that we could contact if you need medical assistance while you're in destination, right? So just ask your credit card company for those. And yeah, if they can tell you that, yes, it covers those 3 factors, then
3 big ones.
Then you're golden. Yeah. And I always tell people, reach out to credit cards, reach out. Sometimes you can bundle like travel insurance if you're already purchased, home or auto or life insurance. So definitely shop around. And then Troy knows a lot.
My partner is licensed for Manulife. And if you don't like that quote, I was using BCA before I became a travel agent, and they were pretty reasonable. It's easy to get insurance nowadays.
Yeah. Okay. And
the rest I pretty much answered.
Yeah.
We have our own private vehicles. They have air conditioning.
Yeah.
The tours I've gone on, they have given us water on the bus.
Okay.
But like Jenna was saying, it's best that we'll basically know on day 1 if they're providing that or not.
Yeah.
And then we can plan ahead.
Yeah. I always say plan that you might have to purchase it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then that's just a bonus. That's just extra money that you can spend on another experience. In Vietnam, yeah, I wasn't sure. That was actually the first classic style tour I have done where I had to purchase water so often. Normally, I would say we do our best to provide it for the travelers. I think it's because we were on the go so much, like so many trains and boats and buses that they were like, you know what, just get it yourself. So, and that was fine because when you did the conversion into Canadian dollars, like a 1 liter bottle of water was about 30 cents Canadian. So I'm like, that's okay.
The one thing I would say, I use a collapsible water bottle. So if there is filtered
Okay.
water at the hotels, bring a refillable.
Yeah.
And try to save the plastic.
Absolutely.
Me trying to be a good person for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we do try to, promote reusable water bottles. So thank you, Troy, for doing your part for the environment as well. It's just, yeah, some places it's a little bit more difficult to do that. And of course, we'd rather you buy a plastic water bottle than, get
Get sick.
dehydrated. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Moon, you have your hand raised, turn your speaker on and go away.
Yeah.
Gas away.
Okay, I have 3 questions. One is that you mentioned that 350 deposit can stay in the account, and how, my question is, how late can a person cancel?
60
many
days.
days?
61 days.
Yeah.
So final payment is 60 days before the tour date,
Uh-huh,
and you can cancel up to that.
okay.
You can actually pay in full and cancel before the final due date and get all your money back minus the 350.
Yes.
The
And that
350 is,
the 350 guarantee totally works. Like I said in the chat, 7 ladies on my Morocco trip used their lifetime deposit to pay their deposit for Morocco. So have no fear.
great. The other question that I have was, probably you mentioned this about the air conditioning in the bus, because I know it's very hot in India. I know one of the trips was 5 to 6 hours. I think it was the first, second day or third day. Day 3, leaving from Delhi to Jaipur.
Yep.
And that, I was wondering if the bus is air conditioned and has
Oh.
toilet, those 2 things.
So they likely won't have toilets on board, but the driver will usually stop about every 2 hours for bathroom breaks and places for people to stop and get, more drinks or snacks, or even just stretch your legs and take pictures.
This is my pet peeve. They will stop to take us shopping. Oh my God, I hate it.
I love
But
it.
they will stop. Trust me, they will stop.
They will stop.
Okay.
And
All right.
And as far as air conditioning on that specific one, I mean, I would hope so. And, I feel like
Yes.
if we didn't, then our travelers would have been like, that's the first thing you need to fix. But I'm taking a look at our
I
website.
also saw something on Amazon the other day. $41 for a little fan, air conditioner fan that goes around your neck.
Oh,
I will be happy. I'm going to pick that up for my travels.
so you're checking on that bus to see.
She's checking on
It's
that.
good.
90, I would say 90% sure it'll be air conditioned. Because we just can't handle it. And I picked February, so it's not so hot.
True. Yeah.
Like we're not going to bake. It's going to be warm. We're not going to bake.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
I can definitely check on that and get back to Troy. The only thing it's
Okay.
mentioning on the website about the road is that traveling by road is not what people in the West are used to.
Oh,
So
no.
just a warning, rules are not always followed. Drivers,
There are no rules.
a lot.
There is no traffic rules.
Yeah.
And
There's
I
none.
think the roads
So-
are bumpy. I know that definitely the roads will be bumpy. So
Yeah.
I agree
The-
with that.
The one thing I would say that Jenna didn't mention in her list of things, bring an extra battery pack charger for your phones.
Yes.
In the shuttle, there'll be a 50-50 chance if it actually has a recharger on your seat. So bring an extra battery pack for your phone.
I have this one because it like pops off. It has a little charger there, and then the port is right here. And this thing only takes like an hour to charge. And yeah, I got it, I think, for $20 off of Amazon. So this is the one I used in Vietnam, which was great.
So
I would also
any extra batteries for your camera and phones are a must on trips.
yes.
I have
in my
one
opinion.
too.
Yeah.
My third question is about the plane, taking the plane from where was that place?
Delhi?
Varanasi to Delhi.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if we can take a carry-on and a backpack because
Yes.
most likely, yes.
Yes, you can. All your luggage is coming with us through the whole trip. So Jenna mentioned about luggage before. I talked to her boss on one of these things. What G Adventures does, how they base it on is airline rules. If you can take it on the airline, you can bring it on the tour, but you're responsible for it.
Right.
And a lot of these countries I pick aren't first world countries and they don't have elevators. So you might be climbing stairs. You know, if you want to bring 3 suitcases, you're packing 3 suitcases. I would not recommend that. It's basically a backpack and a small carry-on. You know, I will try to help. You know, I try to have manners at times, but you should try to be responsible for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. No, but even if it's warm, you don't need a lot of heavy clothes. Should be fine.
No. Go commando.
I'm also going to share, pardon me, you just reminded me, Troy, of when we were talking about the electrical, the chargers and the batteries, the sockets that you'll need for all of your devices, right? Adapters. So I'm going to just share in the chat. I use this website called Power Plugs and Sockets of the World. So I'll copy it here, and I picked India. If you want to copy that into your browser, you'll see what you need. But we also go over that on our G Adventures website as well. So
you should always just have one in your bag, travel bag.
Yeah.
Just safety.
It's a good rule of thumb to have one. And let me see.
The other question I got asked lots is about the meals. And I put it in the chat. So on this tour here, the G actually does not provide that many meals. And from my understanding, it was for a bunch of reasons. 1, restaurant turnover. 2 is dirt cheap. 3 is dietary. So they're giving us a lot of flexibility to eat what we want in India. The guide on the tours I've gone on, we usually follow the guide because he usually picks a great restaurant. And nudge, he probably gets a kickback. They're amazing.
Yeah, they will always suggest something that's like safe to eat, and you know, they're not gonna take you someplace where there's gonna be nothing on the menu that you'd want, right? And if you have any dietary restrictions, that's something that we ask for in advance. There's just a little form, we call it good to go. And for under dietary restrictions, you can tell us, do you have allergies to fish or nuts, you know, milk, things like that, just so that the tour leader or CEO knows well in advance. So at the welcome meeting, that's another thing. He will come up to you privately and say, Troy, it's listed here that you're allergic to this, but can you have this? Or do I need to let the chefs know that it's like, absolutely not, nothing can touch, you know, like how extreme is the allergy, right? So you just want to let them know, or let us know ahead of time.
The good to go link that she's talking about, that's where you put your arrival flights in, your insurance in, your passport information. Once you fill all that out, that's how G knows when the shuttle picks you up at the airport, if you arrange it, your pre and post shuttles, your pre and post hotels. It's super convenient. It's easy to do. It takes seconds.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
About tipping.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've paid for the inclusion into sites, the historical sites and so on, as part of the tour price. But what about tipping those local guides, or tipping in restaurants, or on the train, or
so
usual?
So how it works, it is all voluntary. North America is a tipping culture. We just love to tip. So the ones where we do is, I will get it's all voluntary. You do not have to tip if you don't want to. I will do a kitty at the end for our driver and our guide. Okay. And you can put in as much as you want, $10, $50, it's all up to you. There is, there is a sort of I think there is a number
Yeah.
on G Adventures, what they say.
Do you want me to share my screen? I do have it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Just let me know if you can see, share. Can you see this box with,
Yes.
says India Travel Tours? Okay. So down here on our main page, the best ways to pay for services in India, like currency converter here, and then it says tips on tips. So G Adventure CEO guideline, $20 to $30 US per person per week is a guideline. Up to you, like Troy said, it's completely voluntary. And then drivers or local guides, $1 to $2 US per day per person. And then waiters, approximately 10%. So, like I said, up to you. For any tour that I've been on with G, again, before I even worked for us, our tour guides would normally organize a tipping kitty at the beginning as well. So just similar to what Troy said, they might say, okay, everyone, if you give me, I don't know, let's say $40 US, that would cover maybe the 2 weeks, and I'll divvy it out to, different drivers and things like that. And then you would just be responsible for more of your meals and like tipping the waiters, right? And then, or if you're doing optional activity, of course, that wouldn't come out of the kitty because not
That doesn't
everyone.
come out of the kitty. No. The one thing I do recommend, since I've done a couple too, is especially Middle East and I'd say India as well, is if you're adventurous on food like I am, is don't get the main meal, get a bunch, if you got 4 people at a table, everybody gets an appy and you share it among each other, and you get a lot different variety and different meals. It's the best way to enjoy a lot of meals for dirt cheap.
Yeah, we did that a lot in Vietnam too. It's like, we actually regretted it when we would eat an appetizer and then we had a whole meal coming because we're like, oh, that was so good. And then you watch what someone else eats and you're like, I wish I got that one too.
Yeah.
Because eating is a big part of traveling, right? So
And beer.
I have question again.
Go ahead.
Okay, what's the minimum number of people for private tour? I know you said
8.
that. I just
gotta
wanted
get 8.
eight people. Okay, 8. And
14
then
is max.
okay, I see. That's good. And when do you need the deposit by? How late?
So G Adventures has a little rule. To start the private tour, I need 8 people. The first 8 people I need at one time. Okay. After that, I can collect it one at a time. So hopefully after this Zoom call, a bunch of you, I had 6 people ready to put the deposit down. So hopefully another 3 or 4 of you are ready to put a deposit down and we can start the private group.
You mean that the deposit of 350?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And you were one of the 6, Moon. You were on the list. You were in the one of the 6.
Yeah.
We just need a couple of them. So
but is it safe? Question: is it safe the places we're staying? Because I don't really know how safe India for women. For men it's different story.
You'll be safe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the question.
That's why you're going with the group. This is the whole idea on why I'm leading groups for people who haven't traveled much, who feel unsafe, uncomfortable. This is a perfect way to travel. You have a guide almost 24/7. You have safety in numbers.
Yeah, and they're gonna tell.
That CEO, is that our CEO, the guide?
Yeah,
Or
so
it's not good. Okay.
No, I'm sort of on the tour. I'll be like the go-between.
The
Right? But the CEO is the one on the ground doing it all. I'm the one dealing with little complaints and getting him to fix it.
Yeah, basically the CEO is in charge and
he's the boss.
They know the rules and the customs and things like that. So they're not going to suggest any place that would be unsafe for travelers, right? They're very, very cautious about that. And of course, as Troy said, safety in numbers. So, especially I mentioned before, women, we're the demographic that don't feel comfortable going to these areas alone. So by going with a group, and especially someone who knows the language as well, that's going to be huge because they can help organize things for you. I mean, the CEO can go up and talk to, people in the hotel or the wait staff, the kitchen, things like that. And, they're not going to take advantage of you like a tourist, because they're going to be dealing with the local guide. So
Yeah.
The question is about the hotel. The hotel, is it like, I know our standard is different. Like for let's compare to a motel to a hotel. For what's the
Be 3-star.
standard? Like
You'd be 3-star.
yeah,
Canadian?
nah, maybe not. Maybe
Well,
not.
at the best, but that's what you should be going for. The thing we will not get is, I hope we get air conditioning. That'll be a bonus.
Yeah.
Most of the hotels will be very comfortable, clean. Air conditioning will be a bonus. Wi-Fi is usually pretty good, but it could be spotty.
Yeah.
Like cockroaches and stuff. I don't want those.
So
Right.
just be prepared
No.
for this on the train, though.
The train's gonna be shot.
The train,
Right.
yeah, like
I've done overnight. I've done an overnight in Thailand. It was fine. I think I was only in second class too,
oh,
and it was
okay.
nothing.
Yeah, so
Right.
we use the the sleeper class, so that at least you get a flat bed, because some of them
Yeah.
are just like reclined chairs. So we don't want that. It says, I'm reading on our website here, there's no restaurant or buffets on the railways, but there are like attendants with trolleys, and you can purchase things from them. But the CEO will likely tell you to purchase things maybe at like a convenience store ahead of time. One other thing I want to mention is that, like sanitary might not be their number one priority. So if you're using something like bathrooms, bring extra toilet paper, even if you want to like cover the seat, and lots of like wipes or hand sanitizer. When I was in Vietnam, I carted toilet paper with me everywhere I went. It was great in the hotel. I didn't need it, but I was like mentally prepared that I might not have toilet paper anywhere. So I brought it, and it's fine. I really only had to use it on the train, and I carried a few little Kleenexes in my purse in case we went on like a optional activity and there was places like an outhouse.
Yeah, anyways.
Yeah. So just make sure that you bring, things to make yourself feel clean. Baby wipes are great, especially if you can get biodegradable ones, just because places like the train, they're not going to have showers. So even if you're like sweaty and you just want to clean yourself up, it's going to make you feel better.
If I have to do a squatty potty, it'll be my first time ever, and you guys will want to videotape it because I'll probably fall in. It is my nightmare. A squatty potty is my nightmare.
Yeah, there were
there are a lot of them in Iran, so I'm used to that. So it's good for your back,
your hips,
squat.
everything. Yeah.
I did mention in the chat, G Adventures only guarantees 2 solo rooms. Okay, so it's first come, first serve basis. So if you want your own room, you let me know, and you're tag number 1, tag number 2. After that, I can put requests in, and if we do it at far enough in advance, it'll pretty much be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Just a heads up on that.
Yeah, and the reason that we do that is because we're not always guaranteed so many hotel rooms, but as Troy said, with enough notice, we can, kind of negotiate with the hotel, because the hotels, I'll be honest, they love us. We bring them so much business. So us asking for, some extra rooms, it's going to be easier in places like India, South America, Africa, versus places like Europe. Europe's going to be like, too bad, we're going to sell out anyways. So,
like I said in the chat, I got 7 solo rooms for the Morocco tour.
Yeah.
Right. So if we give enough notice and the location will happen. I had something else to say now.
I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
What if someone gets sick, you know, we, of course, travel insurance, but before going to a trip, that may happen. What happens in that situation? But it's 66 days, less than 66 days.
Insurance.
Yeah.
That's what you get insurance for. Cancellation insurance.
And what if someone gets sick while we are in these tours in our group? What happens in that situation?
Then the CEO
Do you-
will help you get medical attention. So they'll take you, you know, either to a doctor, chemist, pharmacist, whatever you need. That's why you have your medical insurance as well. And then, you know, if you need anything, they'll be with you to help. I actually broke my foot on my very first G tour, 6 days into an 18-day trip. But my CEO was amazing. I didn't speak any Spanish and I was in Guatemala. And he took me to get my foot fixed and then, you know, helped me with different optional activities that I could do while the rest of the group was hiking. I was just like his little sidekick, I guess, because there's a few things I couldn't do. But yeah, they are going to be there to help you if you get sick, if you, like I said, if you get deli belly, which it is very common. I mean, you'll be so lucky if you don't get it at least one point. So they know, you know, all the local medicinal things to do, whether it's like drinking something to help your stomach, or things like ginger, or like I said, bringing Imodium, Pepto-Bismol, the works, just to, you know, make it so that you can at least get through the day, even if you need to go to the bathroom a few times.
I understand. It's just that the schedule is very back to back, so that's why I was asking.
You
Obviously,
might, if you get deli belly really bad, you may have to suck it up one day on the bus and just be a trooper, right?
Yeah.
If you get super
I mean-
sick, I'm assuming if you can't travel with the group, I'm assuming
Yeah.
G would look after you at
Yeah.
the last spot.
So we do have a
Yeah,
local office in
just for in general, you know, you have a group of people and you have to go places, and then somebody is sick. What do they do? Do they stay behind? But I
Yes.
mean,
yeah.
Stay at
I
the
want
bus.
to know,
Bus or the hotel.
or stay at the hotel where you, if you're really sick. And
Yes.
And
did you
then
advent?
And then when you return back to Canada, anything that you've missed that you paid for, again, you would go through your insurance for.
Okay.
What else would I mention here? Jenna didn't mention it, but I do have Peru in 2024. The date is locked in, September 23rd, and Tanzania, January 4th, 2025. I did notice for this tour here, the price for our tour actually went up on the G site. So we're actually, I think, $100 cheaper than they are right now.
Yeah, I'd say across the board, a lot of them went up.
Yeah.
The last
That's why I kind of locked in early.
just to account for inflation. Yeah, by the time your Tanzania one goes in 2025 too, it's going to be a big difference. 'cause
Yeah, that's why I locked it in. I also put in the chat, G Adventures is having a huge sale right now.
Yes.
So if you actually want to travel this year, please reach out to me because they have a 20 to 30% discount on certain tours.
We sure do. I actually had it on my very next, oops,
Oh, look at you. Look at that.
my next slide. I said, if I got you so excited, you can't wait till February. Yeah, you have up until June 30th to get these discounts. So contact Troy. We've got lots of places like Costa Rica. I mean, I'm biased, but it's been my favorite out of my 6 G tours. Tanzania, you know, Australia, those are some of them, just to name a few. And yeah, like Troy can help you with any of them. One thing that I didn't mention is that with our normal public departures, the minimum number of travelers needed is only 1. So you don't have to worry about booking early and then going, well, what if no one else books on the tour? Is it going to get canceled? No. So it is our commitment that if you picked that date, and that's the only date that you can travel, we are still going to run the tour for 1 person. And it's happened before. It was pre-COVID, a solo female traveler booked a Sailing Greece tour, and our Sailing Greece, it's a maximum of 8 because they're all on their own sailboat. And we contacted her about 60 days before the tour started. And we said, at this point, you're the only person booked. if you have flexible time and you're looking for that small group experience, like you want that camaraderie, do you want to move dates? And she said, oh, it's the only week I can get off of work and I've got my flights booked. And we're like, okay, then you get your own private sailing
Oh.
tour. That's exactly what happened. So
No, this is the beauty of G, and this is why I use them. So please, if you want to do a tour, please reach out to me.
Yeah.
And if I can't answer the question,
then
Jenna's
you
a
have
heartbeat,
me.
a phone call away. Right? What else would I say? You guys are also the first to know I have an Alaska cruise scheduled for next year. Just finalize that date. Finalize that this morning. So you'll see that on the site. Jenna mentioned I'll send the recording to you.
Mhm.
Please share that with your friends. Join my Facebook group. This video will actually be on YouTube.
Oh,
I actually have
okay.
a YouTube channel. I'm horrible at it. I'm trying.
Hey, we all
Hey,
got
Troy.
Yeah.
Hey, Troy, this group, who's going to India? Because I don't know if everybody here, I mean, should have their camera on so we can see each other. Like,
Hold on here. Out of this group, who is on here? Crystal was on the list. Juliana was on the list.
hello.
Shelly is traveling. She'll go. Monica has bugged me relentlessly, but she didn't show up. And there's somebody else. So the other thing I'll mention is if you come through Meetup, I do a Meetup once a month. So you can meet me there and the other travelers. The next one's Lafarge Lake. The other thing I do is once I get your deposit, I do a private Facebook group for us.
Okay.
So everybody that's going, we're in a private group and we share our flights, we share our questions, and we get to meet everybody. And I do Zoom calls for everybody that's going.
I think that WhatsApp group is a good idea. The WhatsApp once we are all
Once I get confirmed. The other thing I'll mention, another question that gets asked a lot is roommates. So how G does it, they first go by gender and then they try to go by age. So they aren't going to put a 20-year-old with an 80-year-old. Most of the people going on my tours are between 40 and 60. Right? So you're going to get matched up with a female, same age group. And if there is an issue on the trip, we try to solve it. If it's unsolvable, we solve it somehow. Would that be correct, Jenna?
Yes. Sorry, I just
should people snoring as well. Snoring.
I was
Snoring.
thinking, when you said WhatsApp, I was like, oh, this is something I just found out in Vietnam, and I'm going to share it with the rest of the group on here. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of an eSIM before.
Yes.
I hadn't. And I'm used to bringing my cell phone with me and then taking out the SIM card and putting in a SIM card for the country I visit. But with these eSIMs, you just get a virtual number. And then I had to pay, I think, $13 US for 30 days and 5 gigabytes of data. And I was like, this is incredible. Better than my Virgin Mobile $16 roaming per day charge.
Travel tip, do not get any travel cellular plan by any of our carriers. It's a ripoff.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
It is a ripoff. Either tell people use the Wi-Fi or get a SIM card or an eSIM. There's another travel tip.
Yeah, because the Wi-Fi, I'll be honest, sometimes the Wi-Fi is okay at the hotel. And then when you get 14 people trying to all use the Wi-Fi at the exact same time, it's kind of spotty. So by having my own eSIM, I was like, oh, this is incredible. So I just wanted to share it with all of you. And I had a discount code and now I'm struggling to find it, but I might email it to Troy in case anyone wants to try it while they're there and get it for a discounted price. So
I just put the link in the chat again for all my social media channels and all that. So you can go through that and see what you want to join. Any support. Oh, Carol, you have a question.
I do, about the Peru trip. Which one is it? So like if I went to look up on G Adventures, what's the itinerary? What's it called?
I have not posted that one yet. That is the 15-day, hold on here.
Is it the Peru panorama?
No, I started in, I do the 3 countries.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if I can find it here.
I'll look as well.
I have it saved. I just haven't posted it yet. Okay, here we go. Inca Empire.
Inca Empire, okay?
So the one thing on the Peru one is if you actually want to do the Inca Trail, the hike, we have to commit like 10 months before the trip to get the permit.
Right.
If we wait till deposit due date, you can do the other trek or the train ride,
Okay.
right? So I do have that. The date's locked in, the price is locked in. We'll probably save money. I locked it in early enough because I was worried about prices rising.
And what is the price?
Hold on, let me just go back there.
Sorry.
No problem. No. Sometimes I'm on the ball and sometimes I'm not. It is 3,249. It is
Okay.
15 days.
Okay.
It is La Paz to Lima.
And we are the #1 Inca Trail operator. And we have this distinction because of the way that we treat our porters and our guides and our chefs and things like that. Everyone's employed by G Adventures, so we can look after how they're actually treated and paid and things like that. So,
And I'll give you another heads up. We are either going to do the Galapagos or there may be a south. We might go down, do a cruise to
At the same
Antarctica.
time? At the same time?
Well, I might go 2 weeks ahead of time. Might do a cruise and come do the tour.
fine.
Okay. Because I'd be interested in doing the Galapagos ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm going to do one of the 2. I haven't quite decided which one I want to do. Like for the Morocco trip, I think I'm going to do a river cruise or a cruise before that. India, in my head, a river cruise.
Cool.
And set up a group for a river cruise and try to get a discount for us. Because
Cool.
we're going such a long way.
Yeah.
Right? Tanzania, I'm going to plan Uganda, the gorillas.
Right.
Right? So these are the things. So I won't create groups for those because I don't think I can get enough people, but the plan is to add something on because it's such a long flight.
Yeah.
Hey, Troy, one other question, just general, because I mean, you probably are experienced with this. What is the flight cost? I mean, I haven't checked online from here to India and back. If you book now, approximately.
It doesn't really make a difference. The price I tell you today won't make a difference. The price I tell you tomorrow, it's going to change.
Do you just want to?
I do know the flights I got for the ladies to Morocco was $1,200 return, and I would assume India would be around there, 12 to 15.
Let me see.
Because it's such a popular one. But there is ways to make it cheaper. There's little
There
hacks
is?
I can do for you.
Okay, but I would have liked what Jenna suggested to go there a couple of days earlier because I'm a very
Always.
bad.
Always
I'm a
go
very-
earlier.
Yeah.
I
If
definitely.
anybody wants to ride the day of, I'm going to kick them in the butt. It's just a bad decision. Your jet lag, anything goes wrong, you're just starting your tour off wrong.
So how do we do that for the hotel we're staying at and the women picking?
We can do it through G Adventures. They do pre and post. There's pros and cons to using G's. So honestly, it costs you a little bit more to go through G. That's the truth of it. But the reason you do it is if there's any changes on the ground, they fix it without you knowing. It's seamless for you. So it might cost you $10 or $20 more than you book the hotel yourself. But if anything changes, they do it and you have no idea. You just get picked up at the airport, you end up at the hotel. Your hotel could have changed 4 times in that time.
I like the fact that the woman picks me up. A woman,
Yeah.
like I like that idea. safe idea that
Oh,
the
totally.
woman.
We're doing in the Morocco. I have shuttles planned for the 6 ladies that are already confirmed, like have got their flights. I have all the shuttles already set up through G. Their pre, their post, hotels, and shuttles are all confirmed through G already. Right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, it costs a little bit more, like not an arm and leg, 10 to 20 bucks more, but the convenience factor is worth it, honestly.
For the ride and the hotel, right? For both.
Yep.
Yeah, so our arrival transfer, even if you come in a few days early, it's okay. As long as you're booking the same hotel that we use, then they'll drive you. They're just not going to drive you to a place that we haven't vetted and we don't know about. So if you're like, Jenna or Troy, we picked a different hotel, then you basically forfeit that arrival transfer because our women drivers are not going to drop you off to a place that's not familiar, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And Cam asked me what the price was, $18.29
For the
India.
tour.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I think it's 19 something on the site right now. But if you can leave in the next 30 to 60 days, I think it was only 1,400.
Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much. I won't make it on the June 10th to meet you in person, but I can definitely go through email with you and I have a number too.
We
so-
went longer than expected. I went through 2 beers.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, Jenna.
I won't be able to make it for the meetup because I live in Kelowna.
Okay,
So-
that's no problem.
I get to know you later. Could you tell me what the process for this deposit is? Is it made to G Adventures? Is it?
Yes, it's so
we
simple.
send
So
it to
basically,
you?
yeah, so how it works is I got to get a little bit of information from you, your passport name, your birth date, your nationality, your home address, just some details. I send it off to G. They create a secure payment link, which I send to you,
Hmm.
and you enter your own stuff. So I have no credit card information from you.
Mhm.
And they want all 8 at once. How does
For the-
that end through that?
For the first 8 people, I need 8 people at one time. So if you're ready to put a deposit down, just let me know. And I keep the numbers up. And when I get to 8, I will let everybody know, collect their information, send it off to G, and get you a link.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, Jenna.
Oh, you're both very, well, everyone's very welcome, but thank you for your questions. I love it.
And
Talk to you
thanks,
later.
Jenna, for your extra time.